This time on Travelling with Teens, we brave the crowds in the medieval city of Dubrovnik.
Only to hit a storm at sea. Will this water spout stop us from docking in Montenegro?
Hi, we're Beth and Tony, a British-American couple based in the UK.
We travel as often as possible with our 2 teenage sons, and we can't wait to share our adventures with you every Monday on YouTube.
We left the Greek islands behind us and headed towards the beautiful country of Croatia, where our next port of call was the old city of Dubrovnik.
The sail-in was spectacular with stunning views on all sides.
As we were arriving early afternoon, we decided to have lunch in the main dining room, something we hadn't done yet this cruise.
We had the Balinese beef and chicken satay skewers and smoked turkey pesto paninis.
The food was great, and it was nice to experience the main dining room when it was less busy and the staff had more time to chat. The crew was so friendly on board the Constellation.
By the time we were ready to disembark, most passengers had gone off the ship, so we were able to walk straight off the gangway and onto a waiting shuttle bus that would take us to the old town of Dubrovnik.
This was a complimentary service, and on both legs of the journey we hardly had to wait any time for the bus to arrive. We were very impressed by this, especially as many other cruise lines charge for this service in Dubrovnik.
Dubrovnik is stunning and well worth a visit if you're ever in the Med. However, if you can avoid it during peak season, which isn't really easy to do with 2 kids in school, then we would definitely recommend you do that.
We basically got carried along by the throng of people, and then the entrance to the city's been made into a one-way system to manage the crowds. It was busier than Disney's Magic Kingdom on Christmas Day.
And speaking of Christmas, one of our first stops was in a Christmas shop. There were lots of traditional decorations for sale, and the staff were even engraving them right there while we had a look around.
Christmas shops are always worth a browse in our opinion.
We managed to find some quieter, cooler streets while we were having our explore, and they aren't too hard to find if you keep your eyes peeled.
We're not Game of Thrones fans, so we didn't do any of the filming location tours, but these are plentiful and there are also signs to show you the way to the main points of interest.
We decided to take a glass-bottom boat tour of the bay as it was so hot and we wanted to see some of the city up close on the water. We paid €60 for the 4 of us, and the trip lasted about 50 minutes.
It didn't go very far, but there was plenty to see, including a hotel that was abandoned during the war.
There are many reminders of the Balkans conflict throughout the city, and much of the city had to be rebuilt, which has been done sympathetically and in keeping with the original buildings.
When we were working on cruise ships, this entire area was out of bounds and cruise ships didn't stop here or any of the ports along the coastline of the former Yugoslavia, so it was very moving to finally be here.
We had wanted to walk the city walls, but to do this you had to buy a Dubrovnik pass, which was €35 per person. So it would have been a total of €140 for all 4 of us.
If we were staying longer, we would definitely have purchased this, as it allows entry to a number of other attractions. However, we didn't feel it was worth it for the time we had, especially as it was so crowded.
If it had just been the 2 of us, I think we would have done it, but not with the kids. You can get a 1, 3, or even a 7-day pass, and public transport is also included with it. So it's definitely worth it for longer stays.
When we'd seen as much as we could, we took the shuttle back to the port.
There's a number of shops and a small marketplace at the port, so if you're not heading into the main town, you can still step off the ship and buy souvenirs and snacks.
Once back in our cabin, I decided to check my emails. It was a good thing I did, as British Airways had emailed to say our flight home from Venice was cancelled. The email said to go online and rebook, but there was nothing free for the day we were due to fly home.
As the sun was setting over Dubrovnik, Beth managed to talk to someone at BA who rebooked us on a flight for the following morning. As we booked a hotel and a flight package with BA, they said they would cover the cost of the extra night's hotel, plus any additional expenses.
Because we already had a hotel booked for our original 3 nights, BA said it would probably work out easier for us to speak to the hotel directly to see if we could book an extra room rather than having BA move us to a separate hotel. And that's what we did. And the hotel, the Villa Mabapa, which you'll see in a future vlog, were amazing. They moved some rooms around so we could stay in the same room for the entire time we were there. And BA were really good. Obviously, they paid for the extra night. They paid for our new journey because we needed more travel cards than we'd originally planned for.
They paid for our food for the extra day.
Yeah, and they paid for our taxi home from the airport as well. To be honest, I thought we'd be waiting ages to get the money back, but it really didn't take very long at all. I'd say within 10 days we had the funds back. It was all really easy to do. You do it all through BA's website. You upload receipts. So well done, BA. Dinner in the main dining room that night was exceptional. Our server, Mustafa, told us there was an Indian dish, butter chicken, available that wasn't on the menu, so we all ordered this and we all agreed it was amazing.
It was this night during dinner that the captain made the announcement that, due to impending storms and bad weather, our stop in Kotor, Montenegro, would be cancelled.
We had kind of suspected this would happen as we'd booked to go kayaking in Kotor with an independent company, and they'd emailed already to say it looked like it would be cancelled due to the weather. It felt like everything was being cancelled.
Captain Matt told us that we would still be heading into the Bay of Kotor, but only briefly to tender and to allow crew to embark and disembark. We would then spend the rest of that day at sea.
He then went on to say that the next day would be a sea day instead of docking in Montenegro, and that our original sea day had been changed to the port of Zadar in Croatia. While we were disappointed to miss Kotor, we were really impressed how quickly Celebrity found another port for us to dock in and how well they handled the whole situation.
Later on, we went up on deck for the full moon/white party, which was great fun as we sailed away from Dubrovnik.
However, we woke up to a soaking wet patio, so they weren't wrong when they said a storm was coming.
Despite the weather, we got to see a bit of Montenegro from the ship, and it looked beautiful. A lot less developed than some of the other places we'd visited in the Med, and we definitely plan to revisit here at some point in the future.
We watched the tenders bringing the new crew on and watched as the sky turned greyer and greyer. Tony and I went up to the Sky Lounge and took part in a mindfulness session that was fun. Well, not fun, more relaxing and chilling out fun, if that makes sense.
As today was now a sea day, we decided to make a last-minute impromptu decision to book lunch at Sushi On Five. We aren't massive sushi eaters, but we do like ramen, and the appetizers also sounded good on the menu.
The setting is very nice, and while it is a little pricey, it made a nice change from the normal cruise fare.
We had chicken ginger gyozas, homemade lobster and shrimp wontons, and shrimp tempura udon.
After lunch, the skies had cleared, so we spent some time walking around the Lido deck. The rain came and went, but it was still possible to be outdoors.
Then something happened that we have never seen before in all of our years at sea. Captain Matt announced there was a weather phenomenon occurring called a water spout on the starboard side, which is essentially a tornado at sea.
It was so interesting because the sky was so clear, and a few hours later we then saw another one off the back of the ship.
I grew up in Michigan, so I have a deeply ingrained fear of tornadoes, and I remember every summer running to the basement at least 2 or 3 times when one touched down nearby. So this freaked me right out. Our channel is only 5 weeks old, and we already have 150 subscribers. We'd love you to be one of the next 250.
And thank you if you are one of the 150. It really means a lot to us to know that you're enjoying what we're doing as much as we're enjoying making it. By the time we went to dinner, it was the final chic night of the cruise. We were in the middle of a big storm with huge lightning flashes that you could see out of the main dining room windows.
The food was really good this evening, exceptional, and we enjoyed the kale salad, the grilled lobster tail, not for an upcharge but complimentary on chic night, and the grilled lamb T-bone.
Followed by the baked Alaska, in keeping with true cruise tradition. At the end of the meal, the music volume went up and the food and beverage team, who had all worked so hard for us during our cruise, came out into the restaurant. It was wonderful to be able to show them our appreciation. The food and dining experience throughout the cruise had been top-notch.
After dinner, the storm had got much worse, and at one point we were really listing to one side. I didn't get that on film, but here is a faithful reenactment of how far away from the wall my bag was hanging during a particularly bad list.
However, this was soon rectified, and after that we didn't feel any more movement. She might be an older ship, but she's in really good shape, and we would definitely sail on her again.
The next morning we sailed into Zadar, which would be our final port and the final day of our 9-night cruise. The terminal at Zadar is massive, new and very modern.
And also empty. I imagine they're planning to market Zadar as a major cruise port looking at the size of the terminal. It took about 10 minutes just to walk through it.
Waiting outside were complimentary shuttle buses, again, to take us to the center of town, which was about 15 minutes away from the cruise terminal.
The shuttle bus dropped us in a really convenient spot, a few steps away from one of the highlights of Zadar, the sea organ. Designed by local architect Nikolai Basic and opened to the public in 2005, this interesting art and sound installation is made up of pipes under the surface, through which the waves crash and result in random but harmonious sounds. It's certainly worth visiting.
In each section there's one step
We spent the rest of the morning wandering the town, which we all enjoyed. We had hoped to book a kayak tour to make up for the one that was cancelled in Kotor, but everything was booked up. We would eventually get our kayaking experience, and it was one we would never forget, but that's coming up in a future vlog.
Back on the ship, we had fried chicken and some cakes in the ocean view, both of which were lovely.
We then began the unenviable task of packing and setting our suitcases outside our cabin. We had booked transfers to Ravenna train station for the next leg of our trip. More on this in our next vlog, which will feature our disembarkation and our onward journey to Venice.
Rock City was the final production show of the cruise, and we felt this was the best one yet.
At dinner, we said a sad farewell to Mustafa and the team. They were truly fantastic and helped to make our cruise a really special one. They couldn't do enough for us, and it was a pleasure getting to know them over the course of our vacation.
Next time on Travelling with Teens.
We disembark the Celebrity Constellation in Ravenna, Italy, and make our way by coach bus, and ferry to our next destination, Venice.
See you next time.